Y'all know the name.
Hi, how are you today? The improved package has arrived. We're having it fitted in time for FP1. Have a look at the factory report.
What's going on, guys? My name's Massinio and welcome back to Formula 1 2016 as we move on to part 8, the Azerbaijan or the European Grand Prix from Baku in Azerbaijan. So as you've just seen, we've got our second engine power upgrade fitted now, which has given us an additional 8 brake horsepower. And also I want to apologise that it's been so long since I've had one of these videos coming up. The back problem, along with other factors as well, have made it pretty much impossible for me to actually get on and do this. But we're here now, and I am going to be getting back to this series a lot more regularly. 2, possibly 3 episodes a week is what I'm hoping for. Don't quote me on that because I'm not 100% certain, and I do have surgery coming up in a couple of weeks as well, which is going to limit my ability to actually record. But here we are. So we're just going to have a quick recap, because it's been so long, as to what happened, or what's happened over the first third of the season. So, this is the driver's standing. So, Raikkonen leads by 35 points ahead of Hamilton. And then you got Verstappen, Rosberg, who had just retired yesterday at the point of recording this, Danny Ricciardo, and ourselves. So, from the first 7 races for ourselves, we've got 3 podium finishes, 1 third, 1 second, and of course that amazing win in Monaco. Constructor standings I can't get to because for some reason it won't let me go to it on this, but I think we're sitting in 5th or 4th, I'm not sure, one of the two, which is good. And yeah, so we're going to move on to the second third of the season, and as I think I mentioned in the previous episode, with regards to the resource points and further upgrades, I probably won't do any more until after the Austrian Grand Prix. But I am looking forward to this race because Baku is a great circuit. I am very, very excited for it. I played this. I've ran this circuit in my what was it called? The first play video for F1 2016 a couple of months back. So yeah, so we're gonna do this F1 2016 round 8, starting the second third of the season. Let's go for it. Practice 1. Here we go. So here we are then in practice 1 doing our track acclimatization, and as you can see in the top right corner, we're not far away from going purple through this track acclimatization, through this practice program. And I absolutely love this circuit. I thought if we were going to have a full-blown clean sweep of purple practice programs, it was going to come here because I love this circuit. It's got a magnificent flow to it. It's one of my favourites already, instant favourite for me, and we've also set the fastest time, so the pace is definitely there. And we did actually go purple through all of the practice sessions come the end. So as you can see, track acclimatization, the only difficult one, the only one I missed was coming up towards the castle there, which the mark is out of place. I don't know why that's still happening. Tyre management, very straightforward, not a massive problem. And qualifying pace estimated to be pole position. So we're looking very good going into qualifying. And Q1, there were a few surprises. Ourselves, we made it through fine. Jolyon Palmer, our teammate, made it through. But if you look in 16th, Lewis Hamilton just scraped through. He actually had an engine failure. So his qualifying session comes to an early end. And he will start from 16th position for the Grand Prix. For ourselves though, we carry on and move into Q2. As you can see, it's still wet, not full wet yet. We're still running the intermediate tyres and they're still providing a good amount of pace for everybody, including ourselves. And speaking of pace, ours is very, very good at the moment. We're the only driver, or I was the only driver at that point and for the remainder of the session, to actually break the 2-minute mark. So we go through fairly straightforward. As I said, Hamilton took no further part, so even though he made it into Q2, he will take no further part. Jolyon Palmer goes out, but we're now going to move into Q3. So Rosberg sits on provisional pole at this point. We're just behind Max Verstappen, coming down to complete our one and only flying lap. We're going to get a nice bit of tow down this very, very long main straight. And the time is a 1:59.4, which means for the first time this season we have taken pole position. So we're ahead of Rosberg, Ricciardo and Raikkonen, the championship leader. And then we've got Vettel, Max Verstappen, Carlos Sainz with a fantastic qualifying performance. And then you've got the McLaren pair of Fernando Alonso and Jenson Button. And Felipe Massa rounds it out. So absolutely excellent qualifying. Again, everything has gone to plan this weekend. Full clean sweep of purple practice sessions. And also now we've got our very first pole position of the season. And also that means we are quite a way ahead of Valtteri Bottas. So with a good result in the race and a not so good result for him because he's starting in 13th, we could finish off this driver rivalry in time for the Austrian Grand Prix, which is coming up next, round number 9. But let's head down to the grid.
You've done well to put it on pole, but we've still got work to do. Trying to cover the inside line off the start.
So here we are then, guys, on the grid for the European Grand Prix from the Baku City Circuit in Azerbaijan. As you can see, it's raining. So it rained all through qualifying, and from the looks of it, it's going to be raining for at least half of the race today. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do strategy-wise. I've been very, very quick in the wet. I've got the setup that can put me, give me a decent gap, maybe even a full pit stop before the first stop if I go on a high tyre management one. But I think I'm going to go with the low tyre management, purely because if you see that second pit stop around lap 17, I imagine it'll be around there when, if the rain does stop at the halfway point, which would be around lap 13, I think that might be around the point where people are going to start to put dry tyres on. And if I go for a 1 stop, it turns into a 2. I think everybody's going to be doing a 2 anyway. So by just coming in a bit earlier for the first stop, I'm going to have fresher tyres and we'll be able to put hopefully a bit more space between myself and the guys behind, providing I can keep ahead. But yeah, so there we go. Not quite sure. We're not quite sure what everybody else is going to do. I imagine they'll all be intending to 1 stop, but with the rain, I think it's definitely going to be a 2 stop for everybody. 3 stop for those who make accidents and have problems and so on. But yeah, so starting from pole position, the first time we've ever started from pole. Azerbaijan, Baku City Circuit, European Grand Prix. Let's go. Here we go then. 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. European Grand Prix is go! Oh, a little bit of a sluggish start there, struggling to get the power down in the wet conditions. Rosberg's got a little bit of a run on us. He's going to have a look up the inside. We run a little bit wide over the curbing. We managed to just keep it facing the right way, sorry. We managed to get through the second corner with the lead intact. So yeah, a little bit of a sluggish start. You can just see there, even coming through the gears like 5 and 6, we're still getting the back wheels spinning up and making it very, very difficult to get the power down and keep it down as well. And you can see in the rear mirrors there, Ricciardo is challenging Rosberg for 2nd place, which is going to give us an opportunity to just pull out and eke out a little bit of a gap to those two there. As you can see, they go side by side through corner 4. I get caught looking in the wing mirrors and run a little bit wide into 5, which is going to compromise us through 6 as well. But we managed to just keep it on the circuit, and we keep our lead intact thanks to the squabbling pair of Ricciardo and Rosberg. And Ricciardo's actually taken 2nd place, as you can see in the top right hand corner of the screen just now, as we move through the castle section once again. Very difficult section to get right, very easy section to get wrong as well. But we make it through on the first lap there, and you can see we've got a bit of a gap already as we come through these sweeping left-handers. Very, very fast section, but it's very, very easy to get caught out, and especially down this part, we get caught out a little bit. We tag the wall ever so slightly. We get a little bit of minor front wing damage to the right side of the wing, but we just about survive it, and we should be able to carry on without much impediment due to the damage to the wing itself. And also we've managed to also keep our gap. It's come down a little bit though as we come through this final sweeping left and right corners leading on to the final kink before the main straight. I absolutely love this section in the dry. In the wet though, it's very, very difficult. It's very easy to just oversteer just a little bit, have to correct and find yourself pointing straight towards the wall at 150, 160 miles an hour as we set the fastest lap of the race. The obligatory fastest lap of the race, given that it is the first lap. But we're going to move ahead now on to the middle part of lap number 3. As you can see, we've still got a bit of a gap to the guys behind, and Rosberg actually retired at this point on the second lap. There was no other incidents, and this is a very bizarre safety car because there was no other incidents that would warrant this safety car coming out apart from Rosberg's engine failure, which you're going to see here. So this is lap number 2, the middle part of lap number 2, a full-blown lap before the safety car was deployed. There you can see his engine fails, second race in a row following his early finish to Canada. He is now out of the race in a cloud of smoke. So yeah, very bizarre safety car. I'm not quite sure. Again, there's still problems with the safety car. It stays out too long. Sorry, bit of team radio there. So yeah, as I was saying, the safety car seems to stay out a little bit too long, and it was a bizarre safety car deployment anyway. So hopefully Codemasters can sort that out. But what it is going to do is going to afford us the chance to experience a safety car restart from the front. We've had a couple of times this season. We've had a restart onto the safety car, and we've been caught out and lost positions. So at this point, we don't really have much to gain. But everything to lose, given the fact that we've got Ricciardo and Vettel just behind us as we now get back up to racing speeds. Team radio.
Then some information on Massa. They're slowing down. It seems like there's some kind of problem with their car. The gap to teammate is 16.6 seconds.
So yeah, a little bit of team radio there, and we do retain the lead coming through the first corner as we move down into turn 2. So yeah, decent safety car restart, and it looks like we just seem to have the ultimate pace in this race. I don't know what it is with regards to everybody else. Maybe I'm just very good in the wet. Maybe the car is very well suited to the wet conditions, or I have the setup. I mean, it's a dry setup with just a little bit more wing put onto it. So we're going to move ahead now, and this is towards the end of lap number 11. You can see I'm moving across onto the wet sections of the track to try and keep a little bit of life in the tyres, because at this point I've taken the decision that, given that we stayed under the safety car for about 3.5 laps and we didn't take any life out of the tyres during that period, I decided to hazard, take a bit of a gamble on strategy and try and make it to when the dry tyres have come on, because I know everybody else, they're going to be pitting around this point. You can see towards the bottom right corner, you've got one guy in there. There's going to be other people that come into the pits as well. But I decided to hazard it and see if we can make it all the way to what would be around about lap 15, 16, possibly 17, as we run wide and we tag the wall again. So we get caught out, and this time
We're seeing minor damage to the front wing. Be easy on the car till we get it repaired. We don't want to risk making this worse.
So yeah, we take a little bit of front wing damage, a lot more than we did previously, which means that now we definitely are going to have to try and eke out a bit of a gap. So this is moving on to the end of lap number 15, and we are now coming in to this very tricky pit entry, and we just about keep it out of the wall there. So everybody else has pitted once already. I'm pitting twice. You see Bottas is on the dry tyres, so it is definitely time to move on to those tyres. But we do have roughly about a 30-second, 35-second gap to the guys behind who I believe I'm going to be racing against as we put a new front wing on, which is the reason for the long stop. So 10.2 seconds was the time for that pit stop, but we're going to come out and we are still going to be leading, as Verstappen is also going to be coming in for his pit stop as well. So Bottas went on a one stop, I believe, and that puts him into second place, and he's going to have Sebastian Vettel just behind him. Danny Ricciardo, once again, I believe has gone backwards. It seems to be his redeeming trait at this point in the season. He has very, very good qualifying, but then when the race day comes, he just tends to go backwards and struggle with race pace. But we retain the lead there, and the lead is about, I think it's roughly around about 12 seconds. We move ahead to the end of lap number, or the middle part, sorry, of lap number 19 there. So it was a little bit of a struggle for the first couple of laps. We had about a 15-second lead, sorry, and the lead came down to about 12.5 seconds as we got acclimatised to the dry conditions and not being so cautious. But once we got up to speed, we started to set faster and faster lap times. We've already gone purple through the first and second sector. Vettel has the fastest lap so far with a 1:47, but we put in a 1:46.9.
That was the fastest lap of the race so far.
So we take as you just heard, the fastest lap of the race. But apart from the fastest lap, there hasn't really been much going on. There's been a lot of jumps. We're going to jump now to the final lap of the race. Nothing much has happened. The lead has stayed around the 15-16 second mark, even with me turning it down to a lean fuel mix to try and save the engine a little bit going into the next Grand Prix in Austria. But there's been absolutely no drama at all. We've got Vettel just behind us now. He managed to get past Bottas a couple of laps earlier. But for ourselves, as we sweep through that left-right section and through the kink onto the main straight, it's been an absolutely unreal weekend. A clean sweep from start to finish, and now we're going to win the European Grand Prix.
Superb driving. That's the race win.
So there you have it, guys. Win number 2 of the season, and by far our best weekend ever. So we got purple in all 3 of the practice simulation programs. We got pole position. We got, as you can see on the screen, fastest lap of the race as well by about 0.2 of a second. I think Bottas wasn't far behind. We got the win. We led every lap. So absolutely amazing, complete, utter grand slam for this Grand Prix. And we only have one DNF, which was, of course, Rosberg's engine blowout. Jolyon Palmer went backwards, but other than that, some pretty decent performances. Bottas, he went on a 1-stop and that worked. Hamilton on a 2-stop, and he still managed to jump from 16th all the way up to 5th. Raikkonen dropped from 4th to 7th. And Sergio Perez also had a brilliant race doing a 1-stop, and he finished in 8th position. But what that means for the constructors, or the Drivers' Championship, sorry, is that Raikkonen still leads, but it's down to 31 points, and I jump up to absolutely unreal 3rd place, level on points with Max Verstappen. You got Ricciardo and Vettel. And Rosberg has dropped all the way down to 7th thanks to that little engine blowout. So it's not been a brilliant weekend for him. But Kimi Raikkonen does retain his lead, and Hamilton's closed up just a little bit. Not a massive amount, but he's closed up a little bit and brings the lead down to 31 points. Looking at the Constructors' Championship, we stay in 4th place, just ahead of Williams. And Ferrari remain top of the table, with Mercedes and Red Bull just behind. And as you just saw, we have taken a massive step towards winning our first driver rivalry against Valtteri Bottas. It's still saying, yeah, I'm pretty sure I've won one. I'm pretty sure I've won a rivalry. It says it's still 0-0, but never mind. So we're very close to completing that. We should hopefully be finishing that off or by the end of the Austrian Grand Prix. I think I could finish last and qualify last and still manage to win that rivalry. So that's pretty much a foregone conclusion as things stand. As I mentioned previously at the end of the Canadian Grand Prix, though it was a while ago, I'm not going to be doing any more engine upgrades until the very least the end of the next Grand Prix, which is the Austrian Grand Prix from the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg. But yeah, that's the end of the episode. And also, as I said, it was a great win. I really enjoyed it, but the shine was taken off it a little bit, because I think now it's time to move up a difficulty. I wasn't expecting the car to improve as rapidly as it did, and I think Codemasters have missed a little bit of a trick here with regards to how they do the resource points. I think they should turn it around. The harder it is, the less points you get. Because otherwise you're going to find yourself in a position where, I mean, realistically, at this point in the real season, Renault were not going to be challenging for victories. Doesn't matter if they had Lewis Hamilton in the bloody car. They were not challenging for victories. So that's a little bit disappointing, but we are going to move up to Master difficulty. I've been umming and ahhing. I did see it in one of the patch notes for one of the previous patches. That came out a little while ago, so I am definitely now going to, I was umming and ahhing about it, I was going to see how this weekend went, but I am now going to move up to Master difficulty to for the start of the Austrian Grand Prix weekend, because I've heard it's about 1 to 1.3 seconds a lap faster, so hopefully with the improvements we should still be challenging for like top 5, but it's going to be a bit more challenging, and I find enjoyment in a challenge, so should be a lot more entertaining, though. It is kind of entertaining just driving off into the distance and winning with relative ease. But there we go. So thank you everybody so much for watching. If you did enjoy, I'd like to see more of my Formula 1 2016 playthrough and career mode, then hit that like button. Subscribe for more daily content. Again, I'm sorry it has been so long coming this episode. Various bits and bobs have prevented me from doing it, and also the amount of videos has kind of declined slightly, but there will be a video coming up kind of explaining that and what's happened, but it's just the regular stuff, you know, back problems and illness and laziness, basically, I suppose. But yeah, thank you for watching. Hit like, hit subscribe, stay cool, and as always, I will catch you on the flip side when we sit in the third on the table. Peace. We've got a corner. Come on, let's make something happen. Okay. Well, we got the ball back. Bang it, Bridcut. That's a fucking corker of a goal. Oh, that was absolutely insane. Brilliant goal. 2-0. 2-0 up. The bookies had us pegged wrong, it looks. Yeah, they're a bit hard to see there. They're all milling around this area. One touch, at your feet. Bang.